Bonjour, this is Book 1, Dialectology, and it's linked to Sociolinguistics, an easy and engaging explanation. What is dialectology? Dialectology is a study of dialects, the different ways people speak the same language in different places. For example, someone from the north of India might say a word differently than someone from the south, even if they are both speaking Hindi. Dialectologists look for pronunciation, vocabulary, and grammar to find these regional differences. To study this, dialectologists travel to different towns and villages, listen to how people speak, and collect data. They use tools like questionnaires to ask the same questions to many people. Language maps called linguistic atlases to show where certain words or sounds are used. Their goal is to understand how language changes from place to place and sometimes from person to person. 2. The birth of dialectology, a quick history. Dialectology began in the 19th century in Europe. In France, Jules Gailleron created the Linguistic Atlas of France, 1902 to 1910. In Germany, George Wenker did similar work. These researchers visited small villages, especially talking to older men, believing they spoke the purest version of the language. They wrote down how people said common words like bread or water and compared answers from different regions. How dialectology paved the way for sociolinguists. Sociolinguists, a study of language and society, started later in 1960s, but it wouldn't have existed without dialectology. Here's how dialectology helped. First, focus on variation. Dialectology showed that language is not the same everywhere. That was the first clue. Discovery of social clues. While collecting data, dialectologists noticed that not only place mattered, but also who was speaking. Age, job, gender, and social class all affected how people spoke. Examples: older people used more traditional words than younger people. Farmers spoke differently from city dwellers. Rich and poor had different speech patterns. These findings prepared the ground for sociolinguists, which asked deeper questions. Why do people speak differently? How does society shape language? So, what is sociolinguistics? Sociolinguistics studies how language changes depending on age. Kids and adults speak differently. Gender. Sometimes men and women use different words or tones. Social class. A doctor and a street vendor may speak differently. Context. You speak one way at home, another way in the job interview. Region and culture. Just like dialectology, it still considers place. So, famous sociolinguist William Labov showed that in New York City, people from different neighborhoods pronounce words differently based on class and education. His work showed that language is alive, social, and constantly changing. Why was traditional dialectology limited? Though dialectology gave us a good start, it had some problems. Only rural focus. It mostly studied small villages and ignored cities where language evolves quickly. Limited participants. Most speakers interviewed were older men, missing voices of women, youth, and urban people. So, what is the question? Why was traditional dialectology limited? Wordless only. So, studies focused on how people said certain words but didn't study real life conversations or emotions. No social depth. They ignored how class, gender, or age really shaped speech. Slow process. Making hand-drawn maps and collecting data took years. So findings were sometimes outdated. So 6. How sociolinguists continued and improved the work. Sociolinguists took dialectology further by studying more people, young people, women, city dwellers, workers, students, everyone, exploring social context. It it looked at how people talk in formal versus informal situations, allowing natural speech instead of fixed questions. People were allowed to talk freely like in normal life, focusing on real world change. It looked at how language reflects politics, economy, identity, and even emotions. For example, a teenager might say vibe or lit, slang that didn't exist 10 years ago. A politician might change their accent slightly to appeal to different audiences. A bilingual person might switch languages depending on whom they're talking to, and this is called code switching. So, number seven, fun comparisons, dialectology versus sociolinguistics. The focus is dialectology is places and regions. Sociolinguistics is focus is on people and society. Methods, questionnaires, maps. Here we use that is sociolinguistics, natural speech interviews, recordings. Participants mostly old men in villages. Sociolinguistics everyone, all ages, genders, and classes. Topic studies, pronunciation and vocabulary. In sociolinguistics, identity, class, gender, context. Speed, slow and manual. Speed, faster and tech savvy. Famous figure Jules Gaiero, famous figure William Labov. In short, dialectology, the traditional grandparent of language study. Sociolinguist, the curious modern grandchild who loves diversity and real life speech. Number 8, conclusion. Language is social and alive. Dialectology and social linguists are closely linked. Dialectology showed us that language varies. Social linguistics showed why it varies. Together, they reveal that language is more than words. It's a mirror of who we are, where we come from, how we feel, how we live in a society. Language is not just about grammar, it's about people, identity, and change. Whether you're studying an old villager in rural France or a rapper in Mumbai, both fields remind us language is always changing because people are also always changing.